Good afternoon, TikTok. I wanted to do a very quick, and if I can, under 10 minutes TikTok today, and it's about training courses. So if you know me, you'll know that I'm also interested and involved in property investing. There are various networking groups all across the country where you can meet up with other investors, meet up with people selling money, people looking for properties, selling insurance, all the rest of it that you would need on that property journey. Now, there are a lot of courses, and these are unregulated courses offering training, how to invest, that sort of thing. There are also a lot of courses about how to do a renovation, for example, how to invest money and then to find like a project manager or someone to run that job for you, or courses to teach you how to run the job. So I don't mean on the tools, as a trade. I mean to project manage it, be the lead main contractor, potentially like interior designer, that sort of thing. Not architects, obviously. That's you need to be chartered and all the rest of it. So I wanted to talk specifically about training courses in the construction industry and the investment industry within property, not investment banking, hedge funds, all that. And what I've learned, I would say in the last probably 8 years or so, is that there's a lot of courses around that they sell fear. Now, I'm not talking about any courses specifically. I don't want people to say it's slanderous, and I'm not advising against any particular courses. But what I want people to be cautious of is, if you've got money, there's a good saying, a fool and their money are easily parted. So don't just go, oh, I'm going to spend £20,000, because some of these courses are quite a lot, on this course, and that's going to solve all my problems and I'll know what I'm going to do. To me, some of them are like, you spend this little bit, you do this course, oh, now you need to do another course, you spend a bit more. Well, they've only taught you like a little bit, but then what you've learned is also realised that you don't know enough, so then you have to learn more. So it's like, do you ever get to the end? Do you ever get the knowledge that you need to actually do the thing? But also investing, there is no hard and fast rule. There is no like, this is the way to do it, which will guarantee you make money. It's all about economics and things going up and down and things that no one has control over around the world, property crashes and cycles and all the rest. So no one can ever really be held accountable if it doesn't work out for you. But specifically, the issue I've got with training courses is they use this word compliance, or they sell themselves as I'm compliant, or they say, oh, have you done this to be compliant? And I always say, compliant with what? And it's very difficult to get details. And I say, what are you talking about? Compliance with like building regs? Like if you're talking about building regs, building regulations didn't used to be free. You had to buy them. Now you can just go on the local authority in your area and download the whole set of building regulations. So complying with building regulations, you just have to read them and follow them. You can get third-party companies that will sign off your work, or you can just go direct to the council and they send out a building inspector who again will sign off the work. So if it's compliance with building regs, that's straightforward and you don't need training in that. If it's planning, that is a dark art. There is no hard and fast rule. It's political. Planning rules change from time to time. A neighbour might get knocked back on something, and in the future you might get accepted for a very similar thing, which then paves the way that other people can get accepted. So it changes all the time. And as far as I'm concerned, you can't train someone to like go, this will get you planning, because it's not a hard and fast rule. You can get planning consultants, you can get architects who will do the planning for you. That's what I would advise, because they'll have good connections and know give or take what you can get through and what you can't. But I would never advise anyone to take on their own planning stuff if they didn't really know about it. And I wouldn't advise like a property and course to teach you how to do planning or something. I would say just go to an architect or a qualified planning consultant. So then compliance, it brings you back to like, if it's health and safety, again, the government don't want to hide health and safety. The health and safety executive want everyone to know what they need to do to be healthy and to be safe. So again, that's free information, which is on the health and safety website. Now, you can't read it all, it's not possible, but you can look things up. So I would again be a bit cautious. If someone's selling you a course and they say, well, you need this to be compliant, I would say, well, a chartered architect needs to be registered with RIBA and ARB and all the rest of it, and they've got to do, you know, 6 years at uni, a year out, and then a year to do their final like on-site project. Then they get registered as an architect, chartered architect, or you know, RIBA is, you know, it's optional, but you need to be registered. So that's not anything about compliance. I just have an issue when people bring up this word, oh, you need to do this to be compliant, and it makes me question, what are you complying with? Very often you'll see these courses, they say compliance this, compliance that, but it's very broad. They're not like specific. They don't say this is the exact thing, you know. An asbestos survey, for example, you need it for this type of building, but not for this type. They don't ever get into that nitty gritty detail. They just say, oh, you need an asbestos survey to be compliant. And I then look at it with a bit of pinch of salt and go away and sort of start double checking, thinking, do you need that? Like, you know, I'm doing renovations in a domestic house. Obviously, when you buy the house, it's a good idea to get a survey which might flag up where there any asbestos might be. It's also a good thing to have asbestos training so you can identify it if you find it. But do you have to have, you know, an asbestos survey in a house? And legally, you don't have to have it. It's a good idea, like I said, to be trained and all the rest, but you don't need to comply legally with anything when you're doing up a residential house. So I would just be very cautious. Anyone buying into training courses, don't be scared. Don't think you know 80-90% of something and then go, oh, I might go on a course, and then they flag up loads of things you don't know and then start doubting yourself completely, because they might be saying, oh, you need X, Y and Z to be compliant that doesn't apply to you. You know, everyone's cases are different, and it's just that word. To me, as soon as someone starts mentioning the word compliant, I immediately say, compliant with what? What are you saying that you're complying with? You know, oh, I'm an estate agent, I'm compliant with this. I'm a project manager, compliant with that. Well, is that a legal requirement? Is there like a certain training or accreditation that you legally have to have? You know, I could go and install a window tomorrow. I'm not Fenza, you know, registered, but I'm still allowed to install a window. I then just get building control to sign it off rather than self-certify. So that's only compliance which is necessary, which is complying with building regs, which brought me back to, you know, what I said at the very start. To be compliant, a good understanding of building regulations is an excellent place to start. I would say if you're starting out in this journey, build it up slowly. Don't go straight in at the deep end, because you're gonna come unstuck. But there's no reason why you can't do things yourself, whether as a DIY person or you know, startup builder. You just start small. You should have a good understanding of building regs. You should have a good understanding of health and safety. Most of that's common sense. And you can read the specific bits. You can read CDM, you know, construction design management. You can design out things that are unsafe. You know, if a piece of material is so big that it's unsafe to work with, cut it in half, work out a way around it, design it differently, get it into the building before walls or windows are put in and all the rest. But yeah, just be cautious of that word, compliant.